Ronald the Rules Lawyer, I'm going to shoot off a quick video this morning about the news that Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast are laying off 90% of their development team for Project Sigil, their D&D virtual tabletop. Also, I understand that Planescape loyalists will call it Sigil, by the way. Andy Collins just posted on LinkedIn 14 hours ago the following. He says, "Today, approximately 30 talented developers, 90% of the team, were laid off from the Sigil virtual tabletop team at Wizards of the Coast, including yours truly. I'm disappointed that we didn't get to continue working toward the full experience that we imagined, but happy for the opportunity to work on an intriguing challenge with so many smart and dedicated folks. I wish my former colleagues success in their future endeavors. I'll also be pulling for the crew left behind who will do their best to keep improving and iterating the experience we shipped last month. If you're interested in talking with me about opportunities in game design, narrative and writing, or team leadership, reach out. Be kind to yourself, and if you can, be kind to someone else today too." This has been posted over at the RPG subreddit. The top voted comment says, "While those people losing their jobs totally sucks, I'm relieved at the possibility that Hasbro might have given up on their digital D&D plans. That shit made me want to hurl." I just want to read a notable comment from David N., who seems relatively knowledgeable and has been following the project. They wrote, "Let's list the Project Sigil red flags. 1. Quietly dropped an owlbear-style alternative 2D VTT on D&D Beyond relatively late in the project's development last summer, while Sigil was still being hyped. 2. Executives like Chris Cox were talking about AI DMs during the development, and presumably at some point in the last year, they probably realized that no existing Gen AI slash LLM slash agent, quote unquote, technology is remotely close to being capable of taking over as a DM in something like Sigil. 3. WotC investors call D&D talk for the last couple of years was all about how much money they made from licensing D&D to Baldur's Gate 3, and maybe Hasbro started to realize this might be easier money than developing anything in-house. 4. Surprising lack of marketing push ahead of the beta dropping. 5. Beta dropped with no Mac client, big problem in the USA. 6. Buggy mess on launch. 7. Apparent lack of content beyond the map maker and without full 5.24e rules integration, just a few automations like a dice roller, etc. 8. Now they've laid off most of the dev team, including seemingly the team lead. It's maybe a little early to call it DOA, dead on arrival, but it would appear that the transformative vision of D&D's future that was hoped for by their C-suite when they created the quote OneDnD unquote mission isn't going to be delivered by Sigil. If I were to guess at the future, it looks like they're going to keep it on life support with the bug maintenance as a D&D Beyond feature, and if usage and attraction of new users to D&D Beyond doesn't justify the ongoing server maintenance, it'll be abandonware within 2 years, possibly shelved on a weekend shortly after or just before a positive D&D announcement slash launch. Meanwhile, many of us know who've been following D&D for years that the virtual tabletop was kind of the big selling point of when they announced OneDnD back in summer of 2022.
Our future-facing aspect of this is the D&D Digital, which will become a full play space.
And 6 months ago, around the time the new Player's Handbook was launched, they had this big trailer hyping Project Sigil. I generally share this top voted comment sentiment. It's bad for the people involved. But as for whether they've given up on their digital D&D plans, well, I think that's true with this particular project, but no. They've been pretty open in their public statements and to their investors that they're focused on the next big video game or games trying to replicate Baldur's Gate 3's success. Now, whether they can succeed at doing that, given the somewhat unique nature of Larian Studios as a company and the years of development that went into it, I am not so sure. Also, just a few weeks ago, the beta dropped, and it's clear that the lack of enthusiasm for that has probably prompted this decision to do these layoffs. Now, I don't think this is related to the community's reception to the new D&D edition. I think that is a different topic. I think there are particular factors with regard to this 3D virtual tabletop. I think there's a number of ways that a 3D virtual tabletop in particular was kind of a non-starter for the tabletop role-playing game community. At least it wouldn't be a huge success. People might want to see this video by Dave Thaumavore titled 7 Reasons Why OneDnD's Virtual Tabletop Will Be a Flop, where he goes into that in detail. For one thing, it's not that easy to create assets for and to prepare things in 3D for a Dungeon Master. I also kind of foretold things in this video where I said that Baldur's Gate 3's success threatens the new VTT. I was basically saying that if the selling point of the VTT was to provide a video game-like experience for D&D players, they were getting that through Baldur's Gate 3, and by mods and other games that might come out in its vein. Also, working in 3D, you're going to be less likely to respond as a Dungeon Master to creative ideas, unexpected decisions by your players, at least while staying within the 3D virtual realm. However, I think another big reason, and kind of a very obvious one, that also does not bode well for Hasbro's hopes that D&D will lead to a surge in profits, is that people have been wary of the cost of investing in the virtual tabletop. Now, when I say invest, I'm not talking about a monthly subscription. In fact, I believe the idea was for it to be free. But I'm talking about microtransactions once people feel dependent on the tool. In the trailer 6 months ago, they said that pre-ordering the 3 new books would give you a free Gold Dragon Mini within the new virtual tabletop.
As an extra bonus, when you pre-order the 2024 digital and physical horror rulebook bundle, you will get this awesome Gold Dragon Mini to kickstart your Project Sigil collection.
Much of the D&D community is wary of and distrustful of Hasbro as a result of the OGL scandal and their other actions since. Also, whether it's been officially called or not, there has been a de facto boycott of Wizards of the Coast due to disgust about their corporate practices and working with a notorious union-busting company. So what does this mean for the future? That comment I read earlier probably is what the future of the VTT will be. Meanwhile, they probably will go forward as Hasbro to try to license out or develop in-house D&D video games. They have not rescinded their statements that D&D is under-monetized and that they want to provide live service tools and a culture of recurrent spending, which they probably will try to do through D&D Beyond. And for all of these reasons I've listed, the underlying failure is how out of touch Hasbro has been with the player base, not knowing their community and being prepared to offend and lose members of their own community in pursuit of greater profits, chasing after theoretical future D&D fans who they also don't know. So that's my relatively quick, low-effort video for the morning. So you guys should say in the comments what you think about this news and about those Reddit comments and my comments in this video. Also, I never tried the VTT beta myself. I'm curious to know how that went for people who tried that out. So that's it. I've been Ronald the Rules Lawyer. See you next time.